Hello guys, this is Gosia with a new episode of Monthly Recap. This is for the month of October. Hello all the new subscribers to the channel. Thank you for subscribing and checking us out. Now the monthly recap are the recaps of the space news shared by Mari Swa in her channel Swaruu Oficial. She is a 16-year-old extraterrestrial person sitting, and not only, on a ship, Sadikleia, in the orbit of the Earth, and sharing this information with the people directly from her channel. Among many videos that she shares every single day, one in English and the other one in Spanish, she shares space news, which is basically sharing what's happening out there in their personal lives, but also more on the exopolitical level, what's happening in Taygeta back there. And this is what I'm doing, recaps of the news. So let's start with Mari's personal story. And this is about her getting sick. It was very hard for her to admit it. She's trying very hard to present herself and of course she is, present herself to be very strong, so she doesn't want to share too much of some of these fragilities and vulnerabilities because she strongly knows that she can conquer it and continue with her multiple duties. So finally she did admit what was happening with her, which I'm glad she did. I think it's everybody's right to share how they feel. It's not complaining, it's just simply stating the facts. So she's sharing she has been diagnosed, or she was, because no longer, you understand, she was diagnosed with diabetes 1. Diabetes 1. Now for you who are new, this might come as a surprise because you may not understand the fact that the extraterrestrial people are people and they can get sick. Yes, their technology, which is very advanced, and I'm going to go into different types of pods they have and how what attempts were being done to cure her through that technology. So yeah, they can get sick. Their technology is not magic. It has its limitations, and this is actually what happened in this case. When she was diagnosed with diabetes type 1, she was presented with 3 different options. And one option was the dry pod, and then it was a dry pod with mother cells. I'm going to explain now how the dry pods actually work, especially for the new people. And then the next option was, if that didn't work, was the wet medical pod, which it is something she did not want to do. So she first tried the dry pod technology. It is basically going into sleep, into artificially induced sleep for about 8, 10, 12 hours. And I'm going to read some of these notes because technical information is not my strength for the newcomers. So you go into this artificially induced sleep, into this dry pod, while the machine superimposes the high energy holographic image of the healthy organ to force its cells to regenerate. So she went into this dry pod several times, and then it was tried with mother cells. So mother cells were inserted there as well, and it seems to work, but not much. So Mari was worried that she's gonna have to eventually go into the wet pod technology, which is like a more advanced level. And why was she worried? Because there, in order to regenerate, you have to be basically sleeping for 2 months or 3 months for a full regeneration, and she's not able to do that. So not able and not willing to do that. So she was a bit worried. So over and over again, the dry pod technology was being used. She hated it. Basically, they don't like dry pods very much. They actually prefer wet pods. But now let me explain a little bit about dry pods here. Let's take a pause. Dry pod, as it was explained, and we have videos about this, Dry pod works by mapping the body and superimposing on and over the damaged part a gravity field generated or printed corrected tissue. Much the same way a holistic Taigetan computer can print an object using a machine that works with the same principle as the tractor beam. It's basically a 3D printer that can generate any kind of matter with all its variants and complexities. Just about everyone here prefers wet pods for healing over the dry ones. Well, they prefer wet pods, meaning that the dry pods can be uncomfortable. But they don't like the wet pods, on the other hand, because you have to basically disappear for all this time, and you wake up and you have a totally different reality around you many times. So here it is explained that the dry ones can be quite invasive because the insertion of the replacement tissue is not perfect, causing some degree of side effects. Not bad ones, much less compared to any surgery on Earth, but enough to cause discomfort, mainly burn feelings or sensations in the affected area. So she was trying this dry pod several times. It was recommended she tries the 16-17 hours per day, few times per week, but it didn't work much. So again, like I'm saying, the only other option seemed to be the wet pod. We have the videos about the pods. This is for the new subscribers, where it is explained in detail, but I mean in detail, how these med pods work, the dry pods and the wet pods. We also have a video with the questions from the public, where one of the questions was, can you share this technology with us? So if that's one of your questions, well, look it up, because the answer is in those videos. I cannot be going into that here right now, because this is not the nature of these recaps. The nature of the recaps is recap the news, but I'm also pointing you to different information as well. So Yaski was sharing that Mari was very, 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 very strong throughout all these procedures. She also developed a lung infection. I'm going to go into that in the next news, because that's something that affected a lot of people. So she developed a lung infection, and with her diabetes, she couldn't breathe very well because of the infection. She was full of tubes and full of needles and fever. And as Yaski said, she was still marching on and writing and fulfilling her duties. She was writing with one hand because she only had one hand available, but she kept writing. As you see, she did not miss one single day in her video production. So what finally happened, this is very, very interesting. I'm not going to go into this. There is a video in Mari channel explaining how she finally was healed. None of the dry pod technology worked very much, not very efficiently, and she was threatened with this wet pod necessity. And finally, Urma decided to take charge and perform a sort of a healing ceremony with other Urmas there all around her. This is described in latest Mari's videos just a few days ago. So Mari is now officially cured from diabetes. She has none of it, nothing. So thank you very much for all your suggestions. Thank you very much also, Senetre. But above all, thank you very much to all the Urmas for this idea and this willingness to cure Mari. Watch the video and you will be quite amazed at how this was done. Now, I cannot resist to tell you a little bit of tidbit of something, and I'm thinking maybe that's even too much to say. I don't want to say much or all of it, because it's not for me to say. It's something personal. If Mari wants to go into that, then she will. Let me just say that there is a special reason why Urma took special interest in healing Mari. There is a reason there. I couldn't resist sharing that because it's quite unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. It's actually very believable because that's how things work. But I'm not going to say more. If Mari wants to share, let her share. Let me just throw that in there. Sorry, guys. I hope I didn't say too much, but I think I didn't say anything. Just that there is a reason why Urma took that special interest in healing Mari. Okay, continue with the news. Other people got sick. This month has been quite difficult and continues to be because other people got sick as well, and Mari with another problem, and that is a lung infection for breathing fungus spores in the car. What car? People would say who are new. Yes, they have several cars on board, and not only cars, they have other human vehicles, because many times they have to go down to Earth and mingle with Earth's citizens, doing whatever they have to do. And well, they cannot be just riding around in their craft. They need a human machine. So they have several cars. And apparently here what happened, and this is coming from Athena, who also got sick. She says, everybody got sick. Everybody. Yaski, Dorkalel, Mari, and Athena herself. Mari started getting the symptoms first. And how did this happen? There was a car that was there, and it was not used, from what I understand. Well, it had to be not used. And Mari was fitting some cables there because Mari can be quite technical. Actually, a while back, I don't know if it was a year ago, yes, she was actually the one in charge of updating all the computers. All the computers were kind of old, digital ones. I'm talking about digital human technology that they have to use in order to communicate with people and, work through the internet here, because their quantum computers do not match with the digital ones. They would just make them explode. So anyway, Mari was actually fitting and making them work, the human computers, back a year ago. So she's interested in a lot of things. So she was adjusting the cables in the car, and she noticed that something was wrong there. Something was growing on the carpet and on the seats. She didn't know exactly what it was. So she told Athena. So Athena came, and Dorkalel came, and Yaski came. And of course, Yaski went into the car, and in Athena's words, in her invincibility complex, she started to be there and play around, and she disregarded what other people were trying to warn her about. That is, this could be dangerous, get out of the car, because Mari was already starting to develop first symptoms. But Yaski was laughing and playing inside the car, messing with it, playing invincible, while Dorkalel was trying to get her out. And finally he did. She got out, but the result is that they all got very sick, especially Yaski, a terrible lung infection. Yaski got it worse. And she also needed, and I still think she does need, several sessions in the dry pod with the breather, the oxygen breather. And Athena says, of course, I'm the one now that has to take care of all the sick ones. Athena got it the least. Mari also got it to the point that she couldn't even talk because she was coughing so much. So she couldn't even talk. And then Yaski couldn't eat very well because she was vomiting when she was coughing. So this, as Athena here says, this white mold fungus can be very, very, very dangerous. So be careful out there. I actually went to some of the websites and I checked what do people say about this white mold. Well, yes, it does pose a threat, but I didn't see a very, very serious warnings about it. I think the white mold, as they say, is less dangerous than the black mold or something like that. I'm not sure. But yes, it can be very dangerous. So be careful with that. At the end, because car had to be cleaned, it was Mari who cleaned the car. She actually got the gas mask and wiped it from all the fungus, also using some anti-mold spray. So all is good with the car now. I am a bit worried about Yaski though, because on the 24th of October, Yaski came in and we were chatting a little bit, and she said she feels better. She feels better, and she actually came in with a video idea. I'm not going to say what it is. I don't know, it's teasing today. And she said she felt better. That was 24th of October, but then a few nights ago, on the night first, on the 2nd November, the Taigetans told us that Yaski is in a dry pod with direct oxygen, not feeling good at all, that her health condition is quite delicate but stable, but she will not be able to come in. And if there is any changes, that will be informed. And then I asked, what about the Urma? Can they heal Yaski too? And no, because Mari's case is different than Yaski's case. Yaski, in the case of Yaski, she got direct infection from fungi. The source of it is different. So this is a fungi infection and takes time to overcome. And they do not think that Urma can help her with that. Now, interesting comment someone left today in a Nordic Cosmic Agency group. I don't know, I don't have the name of the person. I think it was the person named S. And it was a website that actually talks about spiritual meaning of mold. And here it actually says that mold is a sign of spiritual warfare. Mold can be seen as a manifestation of spiritual warfare. This belief stems from the idea that mold symbolizes a battle between positive and negative energies within a home. When mold appears, it might indicate that negative energies are attempting to disrupt the harmony and spiritual well-being of the household. And this actually might be a little bit connected also with what Mari said about her diabetes and all that being the astral attack. So even though this mold situation seems to be just fungi and something, you know, like Taigetan said, totally different case. But that's what it says here. It's some kind of a spiritual warfare between negative and positive forces. So it could be connected. So I am a bit worried about Yaski. Let's send her a lot of positive thoughts, and let's see what happens in the next few days. Okay, continuing with the news. Now this is not so personal anymore. This is continuation of the topic of the Alcione Council Alliance. 1 month ago, I was discussing in the monthly recap the alliance that the Urma and Mari Swa are developing now, and this is for protection and independence from Galactic Federation. Alcione Council, which means the whole Pleiades, signed that treaty with the Urma Council, the feline race. Other races were also interested. And here Mari explains that Rur, which is a Urma feline king, he talked to the ambassador of Series A, who expressed the interest in joining the alliance. However, he decided not to join, because the problem is that many ET races still believe this is some kind of a Taigetan conspiracy theory about Galactic Federation falling into the wrong hands, dirty hands. So they claim the Galactic Federation is too big, in Mari's words, is too big to be infiltrated. It's impossible to pull that off. But Mari claims this is precisely why it makes sense to infiltrate from the inside, because the direct attack against the Galactic Federation and taking over, that will be impossible, because like they say, it's too big. But infiltrating it from the inside, manipulating it somehow to have those races work in their favor, that makes sense. So anyway, Series A representative said he will not join. However, we do have a new member, and that is the Antarian race, Antarians, are also a very important race within the Galactic Federation. And the ambassador called Nydia signed a treaty on the 20th of October. So thank you very much, Nydia. Greetings to all the Antarians. On another piece of news, this is fast. We have a new ship called Big E, a mysterious name. It is an almost identical sister ship to the Sadik Leia, to the main yacht. And its first mission. It's brand new, and it's here because, to strengthen the military presence of Taigetans. And also many new starships are being constructed right now in the ports of Taigeta. By the way, talking about construction of ships, I'm gonna have a video coming up very soon in my Interstellar Life series. If you go to the playlist, I have a bunch of playlists there, and one of them is Interstellar Life. And I'm going to make a video about how the ships are constructed, what materials they are made of, and the construction and related topics. Okay, why so many ships? Why so many ships? Well, because in the past, even a few years ago, we didn't have ships here at all. From Taigeta, we only had one ship, which was Toleka, and now the situation is changing. And Yaski is explaining that the situation is changing, well, because there's so many negative grays from Orion here. As I said in my video about the Galactic Federation, it seems that those negative grays, little grays posing as the positive ones, they are now most numerous after Centauri. And Taigetans strongly suspect that they are the ones guiding the local Galactic Federation towards their own interests, toward the interests of the regressive part of Orion, because not all of the parts of Orion are negative. Its duality continues as everywhere. So that's why so many Taigetan ships to basically mark their presence here. And if there wasn't a fight, not war, there's going to be no war as such, as they explain, but a little fight or whatever, then there is a superiority of ships on the positive races side. And as Yaski explains, sometimes just the presence of those ships is enough to stop the regressive plans. So if they're up to anything, look at the Taigetan fleet, look at the Urma fleet, look at the Alcione alliance now building and expanding. So that's what it's about. Okay, let's continue now to the next piece of news. This is the last piece of news this month, and the news were more personal because they were sick. A lot of them got sick, so that was a lot of the focus this month. But something else happened that is very, very interesting, and that is the Australian incident. Okay, so what happened was that Taigetans were going to sleep. They have rotation. The crew rotates. One crew goes to sleep, the other one wakes up. So the crew that Mari is on and Yaski, they were going to sleep, and suddenly they heard a big sound. It was like a sound of proximity, of collision, red alert. And everybody got pretty frightened about what's happening. And in a big summary, okay, you can see this in Mari's channel. And what happened was that it was Centauri, which I said is #1 extraterrestrial race right now in the orbit on Earth. They had a big convoy of ships leaving and entering Australian territory without following strict Federation protocols of proximity. They all have proximity of how they're supposed to act, follow the corridors and all that. Taigetans are constantly moving. Not only Taigetans, they are in the orbit, but they are not stationary. If you want to know, they're actually moving 8 seconds per kilometer. And they make one round the Earth. Yes, the Earth is round every 90 minutes. So what happened was that there was this big convoy of those Centauri ships coming and going, and they were very, very, very close, almost touching, Taigetan ships, and that's why the alerts went on. So they got very scared. Okay, nothing happened. They are going around again, 90 minutes around, and then they are above Australia, Central Australia, and again the same thing happens. And it was a big disorder, a lot of cargo and transport ships. Cargo and transport ships, like they were transporting something from there. Centauri are one of the races that is working very much for the Galactic Federation. They are like their police, their watchdogs. They follow very much Federation orders. So they were transporting something. In the Central Australia, it seems that there are Cabal installations above and underground, the same type as in Nevada. And Mari explains that after Antarctica, where a lot of these meetings take place all the time, now it seems that perhaps Central Australia is another hot spot for those meetings. They can't know exactly what's happening there because it's a no-fly zone for them. They cannot send their drones, or they cannot have their fighter ships over there because there are these restrictions imposed by the Galactic Federation. I checked on a flight radar if there is a restriction. This is a fly zone, because I didn't know, for human planes, and it seems no. Here you can see all kinds of planes over there, but it's a different story. For the extraterrestrial, it doesn't always overlap. Mari also explains that in Australia there are these fences everywhere, supposedly to ward off wildlife, but they are suspecting that this is not for that reason, that this is basically to control human movement and to protect certain areas. So, of course, what these Centauris were doing there, it's unknown, because when you ask the Galactic Federation, they will not tell you. They don't say, as always, lack of transparency. So there is just speculation now. And the speculation, the theory, well, the most probable cause is that there were some meetings there. And then Andromedans confirmed there were high-level meetings there. Andromedans also form Galactic Federation, form part of the Galactic Federation. They are one of the founders of the Galactic Federation. So the Centauri, what they were doing there in those high-level meetings, they were transporting Galactic Federation representatives back and forth. And Mari explains that the only reason why those meetings would happen there is the Earth Cabal, which is connected to the Federation, was participating. Otherwise, there's no need to be making those meetings there in Australia. So another interesting element here is, and Mari points to that, is that if you look at the latest visit of the very well-known monarch Charles, I'm not going to say who, look it up, that monarch Charles just happened to go to Australia in October, in that time. It's actually a first Australian visit by the monarch in more than a decade. It's a second reigning British monarch to visit Australia. They don't go there, as you can see. And let me remind you, that monarch currently is undergoing cancer treatment, and he actually had to suspend his cancer treatment to go there. It makes sense, right? So for sure he participated in those meetings. Officially, why was he there in Australia? Well, there is some republic debate happening there, and it was happening months and months before his visit, and they were asking him to visit. Funny story, I was actually reading in one of the news sections that there was a big dinner, big menu prepared for a king in Sydney. Everything was very prepared, but apparently he was gone mysteriously before the first course. And of course, officially, it's because he needs to rest. Okay, fine. But it is just too coincidental that this happened. It seems that it was very urgent for him to be there in Australia, despite his sickness and his procedures that he had to cancel. So I wonder what's going on there. We can only speculate. There is no information from the Galactic Federation. If you are in contact with Centauri, well, maybe you will get better luck and find out. But I doubt that they are informing them of anything important anyway. Thank you guys very much for watching this monthly recap for October. Let's see how this continues. Please visit Mari's channel directly for detailed information about all of this and much more. The new videos in the preparation, well, as I said, manufacturing of starships. I also have this Egypt video, big Egypt video in the preparation, but don't ask me when because it's a lot of editing. So I'm gonna have to work on that as well. Thanks, guys. Oh, okay. I'll tell you. It's a lot of teasing. It's a lot of teasing in this episode. I have another idea actually for another series of videos, and for that series I'm going to even open a new channel because I want to be running parallelly to Cosmic Agency. I'm excited about this series. I think it's important. Something just told me it's what's necessary for the humanity. Who knows? And I'm currently working on a logo because I need a different logo and all that. And I need a new camera for that as well, which I'm waiting actually for Black Friday. I know. Some of you think that Black Friday that's a deception, but actually there could be some cheaper prices. I'm gonna actually compare. Now I know the real price. I'm gonna wait for the Black Friday and see how the price changes. And then I'm gonna get a new camera and I'm gonna start a new series as well. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next episode and in the next video somewhere for sure. Bye bye.